went to first grade here. Actually, the school was not completed until January, and we were still in the one-room school in Camino, and we moved down here in January. And there were 5 of us in the first grade, 5 little girls. And we were 5 little girls until we got to the 3rd grade.
No boys.
3rd grade, we got Paul Bond came. Actually, I think I am the oldest Larson, because my 2 cousins older have passed, and they were students here.
Who was your first teachers?
And my first teacher was Kathleen Kachuk. Glad you asked. She's the most wonderful teacher the denomination ever had. We all felt that way, and her reputation was wonderful and good.
Was she young?
And she was young. She's never married. She lives in St. Helena, I believe, and she is still alive.
And I started in 1944, and I remember my mother letting me know that this was going to be different than public school. The kids were different here, and I was going to have to behave myself, shape up a little bit. But I discovered that kids at that time weren't all ready for translation either. When we got into the upper grades, Professor Waterhouse was our teacher, and there were times when he wasn't the most beloved principal, but he was a teacher that taught, and we learned under him, and we appreciated that. And we had different Bible teachers, but Elder McQuinney, the one that I soaked with a bucket of water, he was a good Bible teacher.
And he married us.
And we later asked him to perform our marriage when we got married. So we have good memories of Camino Placerville Junior Academy. We had some interesting experiences on the bus. Waterhouse was driving the bus from Camino, and one time the spring that held the brake broke, so the brakes went on. And the only way you could move was to hold the brake up. So he had me sit on the floor and hold the brake pedal up. And then when we had to stop, he'd say, "Let it down easy," and I'd let it down easy. We'd pick up the students, I'd lift the brake, and we came to school that way until we could get it fixed. But probably risk management would take a dim view of that today, say nothing of the highway patrol. It was here at this school that I really was introduced to the Lord and decided to work for the church.
3rd grade.
Was that the first year of the
That
school?
was the first year for the school, 3rd grade.
Time.
Well, we had a really rocky playground, and Clarence Lee Keep and I could run faster than all the other kids. And he said he was going to spank me on my birthday. And so when it got to be my birthday, he chased me all over the school ground, all over here, until I got so tired that he finally had a chance to give me my birthday spanking. One building, and then later they built another one. So before I left, there were 2 buildings. And there was a bell in the tower. And if the boys were really naughty, they had to go down in the furnace room and get spanked with the rubber hose. Elder McQuinney was our Bible teacher for a few years, and he was a great inspiration to a lot of us. Really made it important and real for us to follow Jesus. And we sat on the front row during the sermon, and Mr. Rasmussen usually spoke. And we kept a list of words that he might use, and we made a check mark by that word every time he said it. So we listened to the sermon.
My name is Don Warren, and I came to Camino Placerville Junior Academy in the year of 1949, and was here for 4 years until '53 when I went to Lodi. When I came here, I was fresh off my honeymoon with my wife Phyllis, and so we started life up here together in Camino Placerville, and so I drove a bus and was teaching these first couple of years, and I enjoyed it immensely. Had very many interesting experiences driving a bus, as you know, because you have to keep order on the bus and all that kind of thing. One of the things I thought would be interesting to think about is how relative things are. I had a troublemaking boy on that bus who just made trouble always. He was talking, shouting, just making noise. I wanted to be quiet, but I didn't know what to do, but I could keep telling him to please calm down. It didn't seem to work. Well, my wife, of course, since we're newly married, she would occasionally come out when the bus would come by, and I'd pick her up, so she'd take the the rest of the Camino route. So I was telling Phyllis, I said, Phyllis, what do I do about this boy? She said, why don't you try bribing him? And I said, bribe him? What could I bribe him with? And I thought to myself, well, I had just confiscated from a boy at school these caps, you know, these little pop caps. And so here's this little boy, he's probably only about, you know, just a first or second grader, but noisemaker. And I said to that little guy, I said, listen, if you will sit in that seat and not move and not say a single word, I'm going to reward you. He says, with what? I said, what about 2 of those little pops, you know, those. And that little guy sat there and made not a sound for the rest of the trip. And for 2 pops. Anyway, I told Phyllis, I said, Phyllis, you made a great suggestion. I said, I've got enough caps to keep this kid quiet the rest of the year. Anyway, that was one of us bus driving. We had extremely cooperative, you know, students and faculty, and those were some of the happy years I can remember. So that was my experiences that I thought you'd be interested in Placerville. I love the place and learned to ski up here and did a lot of things that I wouldn't have done otherwise.
All right, thank you very much, Don.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
So Betty and Buck, tell me how you met.
Well, when I came back from my trip across the country with the 2 girls, we settled in with my folks. And of course the older girl had to go to school, so my mother took her up to the schoolhouse and introduced her to the teacher. And the teacher happened to be her.
I was the 1st and 2nd grade teacher, and the 2nd week of school, Eileen asked me if I didn't want to be her mother. I don't remember now just how I got around that. Sometimes he would bring her to school. Now his story is that I would go hide in the closet. My story is that I had to go to the closet to get supplies.
That sounded good.
I had a room full of 1st and 2nd graders to teach, and so I was busy.
So when did the ice break here? When did you all actually get to?
Well, the older daughter, she said she wanted her to be her mother, but nothing happened, so she told all the kids on the school bus that we were getting married. And
Talk about a little matchmaker.
And the 5th and 6th grade teacher, of course, that was juicy gossip to the 5th and 6th
Yes,
graders.
indeed.
So she came and told me, what Eileen had done. So then I had to talk to him, let him know you asked her why she said that. And she said, well, I wanted it to happen, so I thought maybe if I said it, it would happen. But they would, in the gym there, they would have Saturday night programs of different types. And he would come and bring the girls. The younger sister, Ellen, was 5 then. And she would sit on my lap and hug me and kiss me and comb my hair.
Oh my goodness.
So then after school was out that year, he asked me and said, all right, if the girls call you Betty, because I would have been Miss Landstrom. I said, sure, that's fine. So he asked them, you want to call her Betty? And they said, no, we want to call her Mama.
Oh, wow.
And we said, well, better not do that yet, because we weren't married yet.
When you got married, was it a planned ceremony?
absolutely, we had it all planned.
Yeah?
We got in the car with the 2 girls and we eloped.
Good for you.
And I had some friends that lived down below Flagstaff. We went down there and dumped the girls off, went up to Flagstaff and got married.
So we got married. We went to the judge, and
It looks like it was the right decision, don't you think? Made the right decision.
Never regret it.